I take it as something that's exciting. And what I feel about AI in general, and AI generated music specifically, is it's a tool that can be used in a positive way and it can be used in a less positive way. If what you're trying to do is um, copy somebody else's work and pretend to be somebody else, I'm not a fan. That's just, I mean, that's, it's no different than if I try to take credit for something else. If I'm using AI to help me create something where I'm still driving, I'm still the vision of this, and it's no different than a power saw or a synth, right? I mean, it's a thing that you're using to create the the item that you have the vision for.
I think for me personally, I have used AI to generate my graphics for my show. I have written a couple songs and run them through AI where other people end up singing them. I have an app that does that. Now, if I was a musician getting paid for my work, I would not approve that. But then the other side is like, what about when you went to like electronic drums and synthesizers and all that?
I always bring that up because when I started messing with drum machines and then eventually the computer to create music, my brothers, they're all guitar playing, old school musicians, and they're like, that's not music.
Right.
Well, why are there so many genres that are all they're made on computers and synths? Like, how can you say no to that? So that's part of the argument. So do you think AI is like a natural progression?
It could be, and as long as the credit is given where the credit is due, like, I created this, it's completely new, I had help with AI, and people are upfront about it, I think that could work. And maybe you just like use it to get ideas and do your own creativity from there. I mean, I'm not a graphic artist, but I come up with, I think, really cool graphics each week for my show, and I guess I don't give credit for them, but I don't say I made them, but I don't know. Maybe I should start. I don't know. Maybe I should start labeling those.
Watch out.
I see AI as being incredibly helpful in fields like medicine, research, science, all of that kind of stuff. But when it comes to art, when it comes to trying to replicate music, it's not that they can't do it, they can do it very well, but they can't create it. They can take what other people have done and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, mix and mash them and put it all together and come up with something new. But that's not creative. That's just, and so I heard Bill Maher say something that I think is probably right, and that was they'll never replace comedians because comedy is based on human intuition, and it's just a very, very hard thing to be funny. You can break down a joke and come up with the components of a joke, but to tell it in a way with the facial expressions and the timing and all of that,
the nonverbal.
Exactly. And I think the same thing is true with music, although you can replicate music a lot. Like I said, the number one song on not the charts, but the downloads is AI, and it sounds, I hate country, but it sounds like new country, and new country all sounds the same, so it's not surprising that would be easy to replicate.
There's a country song that the top in digital sales was in AI generated music, and the same thing happened in the Christian market too. And there's an AI singer who went to the top of the Christian charts, because of an AI song that people were listening to and downloading, and so AI is the death of creativity because it doesn't create anything original. But and it also gives people who don't have that ability shortcuts. But it's also damaging to actual musicians, composers, audio engineers, because it's allowing people who don't have that talent to basically horn in on it and oversaturate the market with with this fake music, and that's taking jobs away from the audio engineers, from the musicians, from the composers, from everyone else who is legitimately, number one, who, if they view it as a business, not creating art but just making music to sell albums, you're taking jobs away from those people.
Yeah, without sounding like an old curmudgeon, I find it very threatening. I don't like AI.
In what ways, though? Because, I mean, we made music with computers, drum machines, What's the fear?
Because there's still, and yeah, I'm a big proponent. Like, I grew up in a time when people were like rap isn't music,
Right.
or like electronic music isn't music.
Disco isn't music.
Yeah, there's still human beings behind that. And I guess there's a human being behind AI, but it's somebody literally just going like, I want to hear a band that kind of sounds like the Rolling Stones mixed with, I don't know, Black Flag, hit enter, and then you get whatever the internet churns out.
I think it's a tool to be used, and people are going to adapt to it. But, I mean, this has been going on forever. Drum machines have been used. And I think we already are past this. Bands are disappearing, and that's a shame. It's a shame that AI and AI-generated music may put a complete stop to having a drummer and a bass player and a guitarist and a vocalist. I don't know if it ever will, because I think people want to hear live music. I can't believe humans aren't ever going to want to hear that. But I think it's going to be like garage bands and people who do it for the love. They're not going to do it for money. You're not going to see big bands anymore. But AI as itself, I think solo artists who want to get out there, and they're somebody like Prince, where Prince used to use a band, if he was born now and he used AI, he might produce some pretty crazy, whack stuff that is awesome that we never heard before.
More the latter, I think.
Explain.
A creative and an economic threat to creative artists, creators, who have traditionally and historically been highly trained and highly skilled, both, as musicians and as composers and writers and as recording artists and producers. And to have that automated to an extent, or, even beyond that, even fully, is just I think, a hollow kind of a future for us. That, again, disintermediation would occur. A lot of creative people that in the film industry is in the same boat, and they're worried exactly in the same way about this, that all of a sudden all of our creative work would be supplanted by technology, and that the machines would take over.
The latter, definitely. I consider it a threat to not just DJs and composers and musicians, but also just to creativity in general. AIs don't have a soul. They don't have anything that any sense of creativity to them. And so when you go to an app like Suno or something that creates, creates, I say that in scare quotes because it's not really creating, but when you put something through an AI machine like that, it doesn't create anything new. It just takes things that have already been written by real musicians and real composers and compiles it together into a mishmash of stuff that's already been written. So there's no creativity there. And so it's just an easy tool for someone who doesn't have any musical talent and doesn't have any compositional talent to basically take a shortcut and create this artificial music and use it as a way to try and make money.
Kind of both. I mean, I don't really think it's a good thing, but I've seen it coming for a long time. I always felt like, back when I was in high school, that music was going to be internal, that people would have implants and they can make their own music in their head and listen to it. And the very simplest of that is just making their own music, just saying, I want this and this and this, and having it happen. But I don't, like I said, I don't like it. I think it's just, I mean, even just looking at commercials and things where there's lots of AI, because I don't watch TV, I watch my screen on my computer, I stream shows and stations, and there's so much AI, it's horrible. They talk in a moment, and it will get better, but right now it's like, if you want insurance.
Today, they're very, very powerful at doing a lot of things. I listened to a thing at work where it was a song they generated. It was AI generated, it's obviously AI generated, but the lyrics were, I mean, they sounded like a human singing, but the lyrics themselves were nonsense. I mean, they were ridiculous. And part of the problem is just where the technology is today, right? You can ask it to create a song about a dog, and it's going to say, it's a dog, it's got 4 legs, and it's got ears, and it flops. I mean, it's going to be the most obvious thing. It's like asking a 3-year-old to write a poem about a dog. At some point, those are going to become more creative. We're not quite there yet. The music itself, I think, is kind of interesting. I think it creates something that is valuable. You know, if you're wanting background music, if you're wanting a music bed for something, I think it has the potential to do a lot of really great stuff.
I think it's awful. It's just mindless, soulless crap that just gathers data from a pool of everything that already exists. And not to mention the things that like fund those AI centers, like they're awful for the environment. They use so much water to cool those computers. It has to be purified drinking water. They can't use lake water, ocean water.
The non-potable.
Yeah, it's the stuff that we need. Yeah, I'd rather listen to there's so much music that already exists, we don't need any new AI music. That's basically what I'm saying.